The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour, where we come together at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on today? Well, let's update this just to make sure that I've got this correct. Yeah. Off 30 points on the S&P cash. If you caught the update, so far we had a nice pop yesterday, and volume did increase by about 1 billion shares. Today, so far, the volume is very light on that push down once again. I think we're trying to bottom out and have some kind of a rally in January. I'm not thinking that extends to the rest of the year. But I'm kind of a contrarian when it comes to especially news and news outlets in the financial community. I can't find a one of them that will have anybody on that talks about higher prices. And generally that's a good indication that maybe you're going to get lower prices, but probably not now. They're either going to bore you to death going sideways because everybody has the exact same idea as you, i.e. it's time to be short, or you're going to get a big rip in those stocks that everybody has decided that must go massively lower. I did add a call this morning that's doing very well, and we'll see how the end of the day goes, but I think it could be a 400 to 600% winner in a day or two. So we're keeping a close eye on that. If I seem somewhat distracted today, it's that. And of course, I've got workers in putting new windows in the house, in the White House, by the way. And so you might find me somewhat distracted today, but I'll try to keep everything going forward. Oh, that's not what I wanted right there. What I did want was this. And first question of the day comes on Goldman Sachs. I don't think the emailer, which I guess a regular emailer is working again, I hope, path@tfnn.com. You've got a couple of dojis out here on Goldman Sachs. They've announced that they're going to be firing some people, but there was something different that they announced that got everybody in Bloomberg all up, panties in a bunch, and that is no more free coffee.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Apparently closers and those people at the very high end of Goldman sucks. But they're going to be laying off a bunch of folks. And before that, kind of told them all, no more free stuff. Which is I'm kind of weird about this. When I started in 1998, 2000, there were about 21,000 traders on Wall Street. That number has fallen to about 1,000 in these big companies. And it looks like it's probably going to fall again. So I don't know how much money, no free coffee, when they, I guess they're charging $3 for it, is going to save them. But I don't know. If you're worried about $3 coffee at Goldman Sachs, maybe there's bigger problems there. And of course, put the coffee down. It's only for closers. 877-927-6648. Other things going on, as I said, very light volume in this push down. I think we're trying to make some kind of low. I could see us maybe getting 4,000, 4,100 points before we may start a next leg down lower. I do like a few things in the market, though. Gasoline, why up a little bit, is down in price. We've got some other things that are lower in price, and that should help at least somewhat in the vein of inflation. I know gasoline's come back from about $2.70 here to about $3.40 yesterday. But the $4 and $5 mark here, where it's normally 25 cents lower than the rest of the United States. I think there was some sales tax that was gone for a while. Maybe that's back down here. But at least some things, especially natural gas, other things like that. In fact, one of the questions we had already is, do I see anything in natural gas? And, you are testing the previous low today, but you're not going to probably test it on lighter volume. The December 23rd, 2021 low at $11.96 had 13.5 million shares. You already have 12.5 million shares. So I don't see anything out here that says lighter volume on a previous low that would tell you that you've got some kind of low in yet. So I would kind of avoid that. Okay, what else do we have out here? Okay, I've got a bunch of emails here today. Yeah, it says, would you take a look at UNG for a go long? I don't see any reason to get back in it. Generally, this is seasonal, and if you're weak in January, maybe you get a bounce in February that's significant. But generally, if you're not strong by this time of the year, then you're probably not strong until August of the summer. So I don't see a lot that tells you, at least seasonally, to get back into it. Okay, got that answered. Got a couple other ones out here. What am I looking at mostly in the SMHs? As I said before, it is Micron Technology. They did get a little higher. It's not doing too bad on the pullback today. But if there is any good silver lining to the black cloud of the S&P being lower at the moment. Did I do anything here? Yeah. It being lower at the moment is that. And I wouldn't look for a high until you test the 13th of December. The high of that day was 57.89. But my guess is that's where Micron at least is probably going to. Again, maybe we get more volume. Maybe that starts piling in. But for the most part, most of the semis should look okay. Reasons why advanced micro devices and NVIDIA don't look good are mostly self-inflicted. AMD has a problem with one of its new flagship products. They're starting to melt down. Generally not a good thing in a product you just paid $1,000 for or $800 for to watch it go up in smoke. They've announced that they do have a problem. So that's it. We'll look at NVIDIA when we return.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we go back and look at some of these, could there be an ABC on the way up? I don't know. Both of these companies are doing dumb stuff, AMD and NVIDIA, and in very many ways, the same way they continue to shoot themselves in the foot on new products that are having problems. NVIDIA had a problem with the power plug on their new Premier product that was melting down. The vapor chamber, which cools the AMD product, is the culprit here, and it's melting down the product. But both of them taking a lot of slings and arrows from the influencers of YouTube on computer stuff. Not the best day for the companies, but certainly when they go to this week, you generally want everything looking fairly good because of the Consumer Electronics Show, and probably not a good time to be putting out a bad impression of your company, but probably not the worst that it could be. Everybody still wants to buy their products, and well, at least they're actually available this year. Okay, also we have a question on Apple. Does look like it's gotten back into that trading range just a bit, but you'd like for something a little bit better. You've got 126.15. You really need a close above 128.86, and you are, at least yesterday, 88 million shares compared to the 84 million shares down. So it wasn't a blowout. It was just a little bit more volume. Today, though, you only have about half of it. If you watch this closely, you could also say that 132.43, the May 20th low of last year, that had 137 million shares, was not really ever exceeded. And this is several attempts to blow out the lows without getting a lot of volume. But again, the bigger signal on Apple would be a close back above 132.43. 877-927-6648. And guess we'll do a little history and then we'll move on.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
As we talk about the Consumer Electronics Show, which I went to, 25 years, started going in 1986. Haven't gone in a long time. The Nexus 1 phone goes on sale. Why not the first Android phone in 2010? It was the first phone to be branded, marketed directly by Google. They started making, after this, many different phones. And those phones weren't really to have a huge volume. It was very much like NVIDIA makes a reference card, and then there are a lot of other companies that build around that reference. They see this thing that works, and maybe they'll try to make it a little better on the edges. And that's pretty much what it's been to. A lot of the new features needed new hardware, different hardware, and they'd make at least one version of that and sell it. It's been sometimes the best phone you could get, not always, if you're looking for an Android phone. But really kind of the first time that Google got into hardware, and they continue to be now. And that's the rest of the story. Okay, on other things going on out here, just kind of hanging out. Let's take a better look at the volume here. Okay. Do I have something else? Nope. Okay. What did I want here? Looked at question to look at the XLE. We'll go back to that. For Ronald, let's take a look at. So we're up $1.36 on crude. I think we need some consolidation levels around here. We continue to be at the whim of how much energy is dumped into the overall world markets by Russia through India, by the way. If you were wondering where all this crude was coming from, the appointed country that gets to rake off the top is India. Not exactly sure how they got the catbird seat on it, but they're making about $8-9 a barrel on it. But that's kind of it. Now you're up today. You've got about half the volume you had yesterday. Oh, I was going to go back here and look at the volume again to see how we're tracking. So you got 6.3 billion shares. Let's go ahead and call up my volume charts that are in every day's newsletter to give you an idea of what we have. So we had 11.5 billion shares yesterday, 6.3 today. So we certainly aren't having a push lower with heavier volume. I'm going to say that if we get 10 billion shares out today, that's probably going to be fairly significant. That'd be, I think, on the high end. But certainly we're going to be 1.5 billion shares lighter than we were yesterday. So, we're getting about to the point where we're probably going to see some fund buying coming in as we close the day. Probably also a little bit tomorrow. Fund buying comes in the last 2 days of the month and the first 3 trading days of the month. So you could actually say that it was over today, but no one gets sued for not waiting until the last. So we still may get something, and that might be in the morning tomorrow, where the stragglers come in for the last bit of cash, but not much. On options, we're just now getting to the point where options are starting to show something significant. But right now we're about 80 some odd points lower than where the options market makers think we're going to go out, which is somewhere around 390. So I'm wondering if there isn't going to be some big to-do tomorrow to get us back up into those higher levels. Anyway, email me at path@tfnn.com. You can also give us a call at 877-927-6648. And see what else they have. Okay. We got just a few seconds left here. See if there's anything else in my stack of stuff that I wanted to get into. And that's kind of it. When we come back, we'll look at the SOX S.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Well, maybe we're back. I didn't hear anything. I hope we're back. And see. Okay. No intro, or no intro. Got an outro, no intro. Okay. Anyway, we're looking at SOX. Do I find anything? You could. Didn't hear it here. Okay. Is this a possible ABC on this is the question. So let's look at the expansion. if this is an ABC. That would take you to 54.22. So let's see what we have here. 54. I mean, that's a big gap. I could see that. Let's take a little closer look at that. 54. I mean, this thing's had so many gaps back in here, but somewhere around 50 would be a target on this if this is an ABC. The energy on the way back isn't that much. Let's take a look at the SMHs too, see if we have a similar setup. You've got a basically 29% retrace into yesterday and a doji today. A lot of times the dojis are just halfway moves on the way up or the sign that you're ready to come back down. ABC, that would be an ABC on the way down. Let's take a look at the next one, which should be 166.234. And that would be 264 on a 1-to-1. So let's look at, see, what's that? 260. That probably brings you right back into this fairly big gap from, April 6th of 2022. Certainly, you have to like the light volume pullback, and a lot of that was into Christmas. But you got on this one a 56% retrace. So not a bad retrace. You don't have much action out here. You really need to really blow through this gap down on the 22nd of December. That had 4.7 million shares. You had a little more than that yesterday as you kind of approached it. Today's just a little doji out here. But really, if you're thinking about a retest of 234, which is the December 13th high, you really need to at least get through this first gap. That's about 210. So I wouldn't be counting my chickens until they hatch, but above 210, I think gives you 234. And if there's any kind of volume in that, you could have an ABC back on the way back up and back up to that 264 level, which is just a 1-to-1 ABC, and wouldn't actually crush too much of a longer-term downside. But I think, as I said at the beginning of the show, far too many people are far too bearish at the same time, generally, for me. Okay, what else do we have here going on? Okay. Okay. Let's check in on Amazon. The Amazonian. Is there anything? About half the volume you had yesterday. That doesn't look very exciting. I'll check META, which was stuck in these gaps. You had 2 dojis. You got a little more today, but just about half the volume. So not a lot going on there. Microsoft off after a tough couple of days. Down a little bit more today, but volume again about half of yesterday's 50. A little over 50 million shares yesterday. You got about 25 into today. So you got that. Let's see what else we have here. Take a look. We looked at Apple. What else do we want to look at? Okay. Someone's brought up Gilead, so we'll take a look at that. You've had basically a lot of sideways action on Gilead for about 7 days. This looks to me like some distribution up here at the highs. Light volume, sideways action. Ideally, if you wanted to buy this, you'd wait for a pullback to the $75 level on light volume. That was a sign of strength on the October 28th. You had 27.6 million shares on the way up. You just have not a lot of juice right now. And, if you're long it, maybe you could put a stop in. But I don't see any reason to buy it here. The only decent risk reward would be down around that 75, maybe a little lower there. Okay, and let's see here. Okay, other things we're looking at. Looked at Microsoft. Okay, take a quick look at EA. You've been moving up, but it's been on very light volume. The biggest problem these guys had, I think, was that there was a fairly decent premium from Microsoft trying to buy Activision. And since that deal looks like it's kind of on the ropes, these companies aren't as priced as high as they once were, as they thought of a big buyout, maybe more problematic than most people thought. But certainly, you're up on light volume. These companies tend to do extremely well into the fall, where the peak of the game seasons and selling is. And while they still have some good sales the rest of the year, probably try to ride this one higher next fall. Question about Best Buy and anything going on in there. I'm kind of surprised that they're still where they are. The numbers haven't been that good out of Best Buy for their Christmas, but they're still fairly high. I would suggest that this is at least going to come back down to around the $76 level. I would think so, probably in the next 30 days. Generally, this has a fairly weak January, February bias in it over time. Ulta, everybody I talked to wanted to go short this thing right before, I think before I left in Christmas. I didn't really understand it. We've talked a great deal about, at least down here, the lines around the block. That reminds me, I went to a big Lego sale, and you know what? They had lines around for blocks. It was a big sale. Anyway, Ulta Salon, I still see a lot of women coming in and out of the ones locally down here. Not a lot of volume. You may be making a top now. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern, for free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Talking a little bit in the den here. We'll look at a few more stocks, especially the movers out here. But now I'm just not really thinking that there's a lot of reasons to be short. Probably, the biggest problem with being short in a bear market is just how long you have to wait to get short. A lot of people make money very quickly, and then they go back after it, and they give back what they made and even more. If you're doing it right, you're probably in a bear market. You're only short maybe 25% of the time. And the idea is you make a lot of money and you think you're going to give it back, and you end up giving a lot of it back in the short squeezes because they are very violent on the way back up. But question of the den was, I worried about numbers tomorrow morning from somebody or some other place, or an upgrade or a downgrade? And the answer is no. The option market makers, at least until when the show started, weren't very nervous about significant lower prices. They just weren't looking at much higher prices. But, we may get another good signal down here with a lighter volume today that suggests we're going higher. So I'm going to hang on that at least for a day. I'm not telling you to buy calls into February. I'm keeping it fairly close to the vest. In fact, the options I bought were for tomorrow. So I do have a couple of long positions, and I like them. They are doing well. They are on the positive side, and I think sitting on those will be fine. But for options, I'm going to keep it kind of close to the vest. 877-927-6648, and you can always reach me there. Okay, what else do we have? Okay, get back to that. Okay. We did that. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Okay, there we go. Give me just a second. We'll get back into it. Okay, we're going to look at some of the winners and losers in this segment. We've got about 6 minutes to go, so we'll do our little fast move. Constellation Brands right back down to the previous lows. Lots of volume. This thing really kind of looks range-bound, and I'm going to say that this candle looks a bit like a selling climax in this stock. But what you will have to wait till tomorrow for some kind of climax. I mean, confirmation on this being a selling climax. But you've got all the volume, all the price coming in one day. Doesn't mean you want to buy it, but does mean that this may be all you get, like the porridge that's just too hot, or the light bulb that burns twice as bright, only burns half as long. Other stocks moving out here, EPAM, EPAM. trying to make a low. Now, this one is a little bit more interesting to me. It is one of the bigger movers to the downside, but you only have 400,000 shares into the November 7th low that had 931,000 shares. That was 298.67. You didn't quite break that low, and I would have liked to, but if you're talking about half the volume, a lot of times you just never get that actual break of the previous low. I wouldn't buy it, though. I'd wait till tomorrow and see whether or not you think anything looks any better there. On the positive side, we'll look at here, the big winner chicken dinner is LW. Up almost 10% on the day. Lamb Weston. What do these people do that other people don't do? Maybe later. Okay. Produces, distributes, markets value-added frozen potato products worldwide. It's a potato. It's a potato. Anyway, how does a potato company pop 10%? I don't know. Don't know enough about it. Probably don't care. But certainly a very interesting move here in potato land. Other stocks that are doing well today, WDC. That's where I'm starting to say maybe there's a little bit more to the semis and tech sector out here. You are trying to get into the gap down to the 15th of Western Digital. On this one, it came down with 10.8 million shares. You have 7 million shares, so it's not half. You may need to consolidate this out before you go any higher. But on a bad day, to see this up 7 million shares and halfway into a fairly high volume gap down, is generally a fairly good sign. Also on the winner chicken dinner circuit tonight, up 5% on the day, is Valero Energy. Basically filled all the gap of yesterday. The volume downstairs yesterday never really blew out what you would think. You had about 3.2 million shares yesterday, going back into the big reversal candle of the 12th that had 5.8. So we are kind of seeing a push down for these lows, not really getting it in many stocks, and seeing them bounce or reverse right back up higher. And see what we have here. We're off 26 points on the S&P cash. Let's see what we got. Got a couple of minutes left to go. Yeah, that's not much. Let's see here. Anything else on my list of stuff? Walgreens Boots Alliance. We'll take a big look at that one. Okay, off 6.5%. Energy a little lighter. You have a decent volume day today, though, with 13 million shares to the downside. I see much over here. Yeah, it looks like you're probably going to have a little bit too much volume. That means that you've opened this low of October 7th, and that is the $30.39 low. See if there's anything else going on here that really interests me. Well, we've got 1 minute left, so let's make it a good one. Okay, take a look at MPC. Okay, we got about half the volume on Marathon. It did the same thing. It's filled the gap down that had yesterday, so it is a somewhat of a reversal signal. I would love to see a little bit more volume in this, but that is a very interesting chart pattern, and I think it's going to take till tomorrow. And with crude just being up $1, very curiouser. I'm going to make that a word, curiouser. That is a filling of the gap on the downside that didn't have much volume in the gap down. Be back in a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Misfit youth, as we discuss in the den. As I said, light volume so far today on the push lower. I'm looking for most, if not all, of January to start being a little rosier. If we're going to have some real downside, I suspect it comes in February. Volume right now about 6.8 billion shares. Again, this was yet another push, and it's going to be significantly lighter than the 11.5 billion shares we had yesterday. If we get to 10 billion, I think that's going to be fairly strong close. We may be in the mid 9.5 billion shares compared to the 11.5 billion shares to the upside yesterday. Last stock of the day is Southern Copper. You had a high back on June 7th at 63.95. That's 1.33 billion. Excuse me. 1.33 million shares, he said. Today you've broken through that. You are holding above it, but you don't have a lot of volume. You want to watch coming in. You may dismatch, and generally the tie goes to the runner on that. More than the volume, though, I do like the energy. You had 3 gaps up. It didn't come back and fill it. So you're kind of out of the woods now on that being a 3-gap play to the upside. That being said, if you don't have the volume or don't get it within 3 days, my thought would be that there's a good chance that you do make the previous high, and then that is just going to be a much bigger, larger trading range. And of course, maybe a lot of people thinking that that's a good place to park their cash with crude kind of pulling back in price. 877-927. Oh, we're done for the day.
4 simple words that have been whispered by the intrepid since the time of the Romans. Fortune favors the brave.
And it does. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.